The time is upon us, subscribers. The channel has reached that illustrious 2K mark, and as promised, the Q&A video is here. So instead of going over Skylanders today, I will be going over the questions littered throughout the entirety of my channel in an attempt to answer them all. Just to let you guys know, I probably won't be able to get to all the questions you've asked over time because most of them are just asking me to go over Skylanders, but I'm still gonna go over some of them to explain my thought processes for these videos and maybe the future of the channel. So without further ado, let's get into the Q&A. Oscar Camboris 2212 asks, will you ever do one big video, maybe just the lore of each game? I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it now because I don't know what happens in most of those games. The only games that I owned and currently own is Swap Force, and since the experience of buying everything I need to play that put me almost $100 in the hole, and I was just doing that for fun, I don't think I'll be able to buy any of those games anytime soon since I have an Xbox One. That's why I make so many lore screw-ups in these videos. It's not an excuse for them, but it's a reason. I don't know not half the lore outside of Swap Force, and since I can't really play the first two games in the series without buying a completely new console, portals, and new Skylanders on top of all of that, not to mention the other 3 games that I have to buy, I've kinda just been winging this stuff the best I can. But if I can manage to make it through these cutscene videos without my ADHD demanding me to do something else, I'll probably try to do a video like that. On to the next question. Noah Bridges Sonic Lord asks, is Nini really the first Skylander of all others? Also, is Starstrike an alien outside of Skylands? Now, for the question about Starstrike, yes, it says that she's an alien from outside of Skylands in the wiki. But for the question about Nini, I'm gonna be completely honest with you and say that I'm not 100% sure. Yes, in her bio it says that she existed before the Archean Empire, but it's never mentioned anywhere in the wiki how long the Empire lasted for. The Archean Empire could have existed for over 1,000 years, or it could have existed for a shorter time, but the first Skylander could also potentially be Eyebrow because of how long his top and bottom halves fought for, but that's an entirely different story for another day. Total Team Gaming asks, can you do a video on Skylanders that are created by chaos? Now that you mentioned that, I actually might be able to find enough Skylanders to cover that topic, but it won't be too hard considering the fact that Chaos creates its own problems every 2 weeks, so I'm sure I'll be able to make a video on them. It's just going to take a while. Patrick Kurtzner, I hope I didn't butcher that, asks, I can't help but notice that most Skylanders were recruited. Are there any who weren't, as in joined the Skylanders without being invited or forced in? Now, from what I've dug up, it's a mixture of all 3 of these, but most of the time, Eon just shows up and nudges you into becoming a Skylander. And from what I understand, it's kind of rare for a Skylander to come and join without Eon's involvement. But I was able to find a couple, most notably Roller Brawl. But to answer your question, yes, there are a bunch of Skylanders who weren't invited but joined on their own accord. You just need to do some digging. I'm Adrian's asks, can you add Stealth Elf and Trigger Happy into a video, please? Now, I don't know what to say about Trigger Happy, but when it comes to Stealth Elf, she's probably going to be one of those Skylanders that I make an entire video about. When it comes to Skylanders in the extended lore, they would usually show up in a few books, but Stealth Elf is literally everywhere. There are literally multiple books and comics where she shows up, and I know that it's going to be an absolute challenge to go through all of it without missing something. In other words, I probably will, it will just take some time. Hoo-hoo-hee-hee asks, I just found your content today, love your content already. I'd like to ask, how long does it take to edit a video, and do you find editing and researching for this kind of stuff fun? Along with this, for a Skylander suggestion, can I have a funny bone? Nice pun, but I'll get to that in a second. These videos usually take a hot minute to make, sometimes a week, and it's so cramped that I actually have to write a script throughout the week, or over the weekend as I'm editing another video just to keep up. But I do find this stuff pretty fun because most of the time I'm discovering new things that I've never heard of before. Like I've said earlier, I've never played any other Skylander games outside of Swap Force, and I'm too poor to actively go out and buy any of them. So I'm basically jumping into a world that I barely have any experience with, and it's the most fun I've had on YouTube in a while. And Funny Bone also will probably get his own video alongside some other Ghost Skylanders, but it's going to take a minute. Your host Lou8808 asks, question, what made you interested in doing YouTube, and will you continue doing Skylanders lore? YouTube interested me because I can make money doing something that I want without having to make a crazy commitment, because as of right now, the only thing that I've been really interested in is creative writing. But that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. And when it comes to your question about Skylanders, I will continue doing lore, but I will probably move on to something else eventually. As much as I hate to say it, Skylanders, as least as it was, is pretty much dead right now. I know that Toys for Bob are doing their own thing, and that Activision is now part of Microsoft, and they seem interested about Skylanders, but the gaming landscape right now just isn't a good place for Skylanders in the slightest. People aren't going to be too pleased having content locked behind a portal of power and or a Skylander paywall if they make the Skylanders digital, which will just turn the game into a money pit where you constantly dump cash in for a new character. What I'm basically trying to say is there's a finite amount of things I can talk about. Yes, it's a lot of stuff, but I know I'll eventually get bored of it and want to do something else. But it's not like I'll drop Skylanders all at once. It'll just share the same space with other videos before it eventually stops getting views or dies out. Noah Bridges Sonic Lord asks again, does your night shift have golden boxing gloves? I actually need to clear up a misconception here. For most of the Skylanders I cover in these videos, they aren't actually mine, but just videos of someone else's Skylander being placed on a portal. This is because I want a good introduction for the Skylander besides just saying their name. So I usually have to dig around and try to find somebody putting that certain Skylander on a portal. And when I do have that Skylander, I just record the section myself. That's why in the Pirates video, Thumpback had his portal segment in the Swap Force game instead of Giants, because I usually try to find their portal intros from their respective games that they were introduced in, unless they are a character from SSA or something of the sort. This also kinda goes for thumbnails as well, where I have to go to some obscure places to try and find a Skylander that doesn't have their background or is in the lowest resolution imaginable. But with that out the way, let's get on to the next question. Darkest Carving 8735 asks, you've mentioned something that piques my curiosity. The human Skylanders. What are their origins and relations to Skylands? Now, this actually might become a video all on its own because as I've dived deeper and deeper into Skylanders lore, I've realized that there's a lot of stuff going on here. I suspect that Eon is a human along with his niece Aurora, but it wasn't exactly set in stone if they were human or not, just inferences. But there's also the fact that human foods somehow exist in Skylands like tacos, enchiladas, and Chinese food in the damn box, which just raised the question of, how did all of this stuff even get here? Bennington Hines asks, what's the story behind your name and cool looking avatar? Now, the story behind my avatar actually takes me back to the lost stage of my channel. Most people don't know this, but before I started as an Optimus clone, I started off as a Let's Play YouTuber playing Minecraft mods on my phone. And like Let's Players do, you have to have a catchy name so people actually remember you. So while I was thinking about this, I was in the process of switching my batteries and my controller out. And the specific batteries were those green rechargeable Energizer batteries. And to me, the green on the batteries looked like neon green. And that's what I decided to call myself Neon Batteries, where I started out with this avatar that used to be a neon green that came from Pit Crew before switching to my modern look. That also comes from Pit Crew. But since the older one looks better in my opinion, I'm just gonna keep it up like that since it's been like that for over 4 years. And to end this video off, James OC2YX asks, what's your end goal for 2024? Now, when it comes to my goal for this year, I want to make it a feasible source of money so I can actually make a living off these videos because, well, I've only made like 80 bucks over the past week or so, which isn't too bad, but it's minuscule compared to the bills I'll be paying in the future, and I'd actually like to have something to use to buy food and maybe new games afterwards. I'm not going to lie to you all, one of the main reasons I do YouTube is because it pays me, but that doesn't mean I'm going to neglect you guys. You're not only one of the reasons I get paid, but you're also the reason why I love doing YouTube. So thank you all for 2,000 subs. Thank you so much for making this dream a reality for me, and hopefully by the time this video comes out, I'll already be working on the next video. So, like always, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy content like this, share this around so I can grow as a channel, and I will see you all in the next one.